Hey, it's Maury from Traveling Solo. Today's topic is the sound system in the RAM Promaster / Hymer Aktiv. As you're probably aware, the sound system in the van leaves something to be desired. The speakers that Hymer installs in the cabinetry actually aren't too bad. They are Pioneer, I think they're Pioneer 2-ways. I had taken one out. I had a speaker wire that was vibrating against the cone, so I had to take one apart. But up in the doors, and in the front of the cab, it just needs some help. So what I've done is taken apart the speaker grill here. Now the nice thing about this is you don't have to take the door panel off. I was expecting to have to take the door panel off, but the grill is a separate piece, and that's a very nice feature that you don't get that very often. Be sure when you're working with interior trim to use the appropriate tools so as to not damage the paint or the plastic itself. These are inexpensive interior tools that you can purchase at any auto parts store or online. I've already loosened this piece, and when you take the cover off, you reveal a one-way paper cone. Looks to be a 6.5-inch speaker. Trim ring that holds it in, so it looks like it's going to be a standard replacement, and there's the wiring for it up here that we will take off once we get the speaker unscrewed from the door panel. So the next step will be to locate a nice set of 6.5-inch speakers, 2-ways or maybe 3-ways, depending on what I find, that will drop into place in place of this. That should be a fairly easy upgrade, and the sound quality should be much improved over this single throw paper cone speaker that we have in the doors. So let's get to it. Alright, so let's see if we can see this here. These are very small magnet, shallow throw paper cone speakers. They are 4 ohm, rated at 20 watts, made in Poland. How about that? So this is a single assembly, so whatever we end up with, we will be replacing this entire speaker, including the plastic trim. While I'm at it, I'm going to insert some soundproofing inside there, since I have access to the inside of the door. A little bit, just to give it some sound deadening, with the sound deadening material that I showed in a previous video. So I think that I've located some speakers locally just at Walmart. They have some Pioneers and some Sony speakers that should fit, so I will take a closer look and we'll see about putting some in. Okay, so I've been to Walmart and picked up some speakers. I ended up with, I don't know if they're the Walmart house brand or not, but these are Scosche 6.5-inch 4-way speakers. That means that there's a woofer, a separate mid-range, and 2 tweeters. Typically they call one a standard tweeter and one is a super tweeter for super high frequencies. They're decent. I mean, they feel okay. It's just an average speaker, really. There's nothing exciting about it. There you can see the small ones are the tweeters, mid-range in the middle, and then the full range there. Compared to the one that was in the RAM. Now, speakers or magnet size doesn't always tell the story, but it does matter. It has to do with the way that it can move the cone and produce sound. These are also rated for different power. So the stock speakers were rated at 20 watts. That doesn't say if it's RMS or peak. RMS is basically the rating for what the speaker can handle on a continuous basis. So if this is RMS, for instance, it would mean that these speakers could handle 20 watts all the time and sound okay with little to no distortion expected. The Scosche ones are rated at 50 watts RMS. One of the things you want to remember too, and if you look at this box here, it says 50 watts RMS, 200 watts max or peak. Don't ever pay attention to the peak or maximum. You know, when you're saying that this is a 200 watt speaker for marketing purposes, that sounds awesome. What that probably means is at 200 watts, this thing blows up. It might handle it for a brief moment before it explodes into smoke. But when they say 200 watts, or in the case of the Pioneers that I had, they said 350 watts per speaker, you would never be able to run 200 watts of power through this speaker for any appreciable amount of time. And if it did run it and not explode, it would be so distorted that it would be unlistenable until it exploded, because it would do it anyway. So the other thing that we have to do, there's a couple things. Because the stock speakers have this funky mounting trim ring attached to the speaker, a standard speaker will not fit. The holes don't line up. So I'm actually going to have to drill mounting holes in order to position this speaker in place. It also, the stock speaker has its own little connector, if you can see it in there. I don't know if you can. That was the plug that I unplugged for the speaker wires. This uses a standard spade connector, and I'm going to have to wire the existing wiring to match these. And you can buy spade connectors, and that's what I'm going to do. And it sounds like I just got an Amazon delivery. But that will go in fairly easily. So drilling the small pilot holes for the screws to mount it, and then putting it back together. And we should be able to see the difference immediately from one side to the other. So this is going in on the passenger side, and then the stock speaker is still on the driver's side, and I'll do a quick comparison. Okay, here's where we are so far. I've drilled some holes for mounting, and I'm going to drill a couple more. I did wire it with one of these spade connectors here, and it's not focusing, but there's a spade connector there on the back. And I'm going to finish drilling the holes, put this in place, and put the cover on, and we'll see how it sounds. I actually did test it just to make sure that it's working, and I'm going to button it all up. Okay, repeating the process on this side. I have a couple of holes drilled already. Inside there you can see my sound deadening material. Just about finished. So it may be hard to tell on video, but it definitely sounds crisper. It's not going to be louder because, you know, there's no amplifier, and I'm still running just off of the head unit. But I think it's definitely better quality than the original speakers. Alright, there you have it. An easy upgrade, inexpensive upgrade. Definitely sounds better, crisper highs, and better mid-range and low frequency. I could have gotten better speakers, but I figured that I didn't want to put a lot of money into the sound system. I just wanted a bit of an improvement. The Pioneer speakers that I bought originally would have fit with the mounting plate that it came with. The Promaster has a special 3-hole mounting speaker. It looks like they have special speakers that were made for the RAM Promaster. So a standard speaker that you buy off the shelf isn't going to bolt right in. But the Pioneer speaker had an adapter plate that would have, except it did not fit within the confines of the door panel. So instead I had to buy the different speakers and save the money. The Pioneer speakers were $50, and I didn't think that the additional 20-something dollars was worth the Pioneer speakers, when these will probably do just as well. So as always, thanks for watching. If you have any questions or any additional comments, leave them in the space below. And until next time, have a great day.